And all I can think about is getting you home, walking through the front door. What's up, friends? How are we? I hope the answer is well. Today's podcast, I'm just going to be kind of riffing here. Usually I'll come into these episodes with a little bit of a plan or kind of an outline of the value that I would like to bring, but I feel like the value that I would like to bring today is just to rant about what's up, and just the things that I have been working through and thinking through in my own experience, and perhaps you can walk away with something that you can apply to your experience. It's funny, I always dreamed about this, you know what I mean? Just sitting here with the microphone, talking my stuff, ranting about life. You know, you kind of practice this growing up. You're in the freaking shower having your own radio show or whatever. You're in the car, you're singing, doing your thing. And here we are. And you're listening to it if you're hearing my voice. So that's pretty cool. It might not be millions quite yet, but if you're hearing me right now, you're a freaking real one. I gotta put my little camera screen back so I don't look at myself. That would be no fun. I see my reflection in the mirror enough, you guys. But you know what I've been reflecting on a lot, in especially the past week, but really the past months have kind of built up to a specific realization, which is that I do not want to be speaking from obligation. Speaking from obligation makes things robotic, makes things meaningless, makes things not resonate with people. And social media has been a really large force trying to push me into speaking from obligation. And I hate that, because when I started social media, when I started filming videos of myself running every day, sharing the ideas that were just exploding out of my brain, I was sharing my thoughts from pure conviction. You know, I had these ideas that I thought would change the way that people think and live, and they have, which is actually incredibly cool to reflect on, of course. Just seeing messages of people saying that they've applied some of the things I've talked about and they've made progress in their life or their relationships or their fitness, health. That is crazy. So just want to put that out there, that's an absolute blessing. It's something I'm so grateful for. And that whole side of my life, speaking from conviction, has been so powerful. Now, short form content, there's a whole world to this. You know, there's the platforms, there's the people on the platforms, there's kind of the human condition that it can be pretty heavily reflective of sometimes. And it's been something I've been so frustrated with lately, because you could go on my Instagram and say, oh, you get thousands and thousands of views. What could possibly be wrong with that? And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think just my heart posture, or my mental posture going into creating short form content, has been tainted in a way. It's been tainted by something cool, which is my love for podcast and YouTube, which have been growing and creating impact. But to compare that to short form, where every time I pick up my phone, I am required to take what I think, boil it down into something that is not the full spectrum of what I think, post it, have this unhealthy relationship with the value put in, the product you have to turn it into, the amount of views or attention you get back in return, and the struggle. There's almost a slavery to this process of not actually creating value, but trying to take value, reduce it into attention, really attention grabbing content, and then try to get as many views as possible, because short form platforms, TikTok and Instagram, are forcing creators to work on solely attention. And that's a pain in the ass, because check out how I'm speaking right now. My entire existence is flowing through my mind, and I'm trying to take that and communicate it into my thoughts. Is that going to happen in some quick, snappy, here are the top 3 tips for improving your health? No, I mean, I'm sitting here processing. I have the pauses in between my sentences. I'm looking at my shoes in my closet right here, trying to find the ideas. I'm looking up at the corner of the wall, trying to find what I want to say. And this is how you process the real questions of life. This is what actual thinking and communication looks like. And I don't know how to turn that into something quote unquote powerful on short form platforms and have it actually resonate and make an impact. Because getting views does not equal quality. Getting views does not equal impact. Getting views literally just means you got attention. And that can come in all different shapes and sizes. And it's just something that I've been, again, frustrated with, because it becomes an obligation instead of a conviction. If I have something important to say and I want to share that with my audience, it's not going to get across if it is not super attention grabbing, if it doesn't hook your attention right away. And pursuing ideas in that kind of way dilutes the ideas themselves. And I simply don't know how to work around that. And in this landscape of Instagram, for example, I have a following of about 460,000 people. I would say close to 0% of my videos reach that many people, because your content as a creator is not shown to all of your followers. It's ranked and then perhaps shown to the people that follow you. So the incentive as a creator has drastically changed over the years. And you can watch videos of literally the CEO of Instagram talking about this and giving tips to creators on how to get your videos to perform better and how to cultivate an audience and all this kind of stuff. The sad part is that building a following, building an audience is no longer a community, or it's kind of getting away from this feeling of a community, because you build followers, but it's only shown, the content you create is only shown to those followers if your content performs well among non-followers, which is really interesting. So Instagram is going heavily towards recommended content. So how do you get somebody that doesn't know who you are, doesn't know what you're about, to follow you? You create the most engaging, the most attention-grabbing content possible. And this sort of structure actually de-incentivizes creating quality, valuable content for the people that already follow you. So it's really interesting how this works. Now, why would this be? I know exactly why. It's because Instagram is a business. And Instagram wants you to be on Instagram longer. So the time spent currency, again, is pretty heavily conflicted with the value gained currency, which is not the intended purpose of short form social media. I don't know if it's the intention of any kind of media, to be honest, but my approach to these types of media, of course, is to bring value and to have impact. I'm always trying to battle my internal desire to be highly competent and my own morals. Because do I think that getting the most attention is perfectly aligned with the impact and the morality aspect of how my mind works? No. But there is an aspect to wanting to be really skillful and me questioning, well, why are other people way better at grabbing people's attention, because what if I was as skilled at that but was still able to build in the actual impact? I would rather somebody who wants to help people have 1 million followers than somebody who has kind of the lens of degeneracy that they make their content through having 1 million followers. But that second example, or the latter concept here, the latter archetype, is typically way better at the attention grabbing. Because, I mean, if you look out your window and you see someone get hit by a car, you're watching it. That's not the most positive situation, but you're definitely going to watch that. And then if somebody says, hey, I actually have the key to improving your life, but you're going to have to sit down for 2 hours, really talk through what you think, do the deep dive on your own mind, but you'll literally get everything you're looking for. Your life is going to get so much better, but you have to do that deep work. You have to listen. You have to consider perspectives. You have to really wring out your mind. Most people wouldn't take up that offer, but they're damn sure going to watch the person getting hit by a car outside of their window. I mentioned this earlier, but social media, these short form platforms, they're kind of reflective of the human condition in a way. I would say the modern human condition. Because what really happens is we're not looking for value. We're looking for distraction. We're looking for comfort and things that are going to steal your attention, keep you on a short form platform, keep you scrolling, keep you looking for what you might think are answers. It's kind of an inescapable cycle, because it is so good at distracting us from that 2 hour sit down, wring out your mind, do the deep work kind of thing. And I think without the construct of survival being kind of the main purpose as humans, we then fall into all of these pitfalls. And our weakness of comfort seeking and related things are really exposed through short form social media. You could probably tell that because this social media thing is part of what I do, it really isn't about just, my content doesn't perform well kind of thing. It's more that small practical piece of what I do and the impact I'm trying to have is actually tied to the big picture, the biggest picture, because it's a reflection of me. I don't see my poor Instagram analytics and go, dang it, I'm not going to make money. It's, oh, wow, I feel like there's a deficit in my ability to be a skillful and strategic creator on top of being a creator of good intention. I don't really wake up every day and question if I have good intent, if I'm a genuine person, and I hope that through the content I create, you can see that. Among my sarcasm and things that get heavily misunderstood as well, but hopefully you can see that. But I do wake up most days and say, what is the disconnect here? Where is the room for improvement in my skill in short form content? And it sounds like such a funny thing, but again, all of the small practical pieces of what I do are tied to the biggest picture, because getting in front of more people means more people hearing what I have to say. And I'm heavily convicted in the fact that my ideas and the lessons that I've learned could help a lot of people break free from the downfalls of their own mind, and the prison that I think so many people are trapped in mentally, even physically, in the way that they live. I think that impact can be real. So I'm waking up wondering, dang, how can I get those ideas out there more effectively? And the short form content thing becomes this roadblock for me. And it's such a dramatic way to approach it, I guess. But what I'm trying to accomplish in helping people, I mean, I want to change the world in a sense, which sometimes I even question, is that the proper pursuit? But it's kind of where I'm at right now. I do want to change the world. It is so, it just weighs heavily on me, I guess. And maybe you can tell that just by my current seeking for the right words to say. But when I look at how I create videos on YouTube or how I approach this podcast, my goal is for you to be able to listen to this and just know who I am, and then appreciate the ideas I share with the knowledge of, again, who I am as an individual. Because helpful tips are one thing and cool quotes are one thing, but they only really mean something when you know where they came from. And that's what I hope to share. I hope that people can actually have as much insight into me and my life as possible, so that a true understanding can come from that. The information I share can be actually applicable, because I think that that is so powerful. And maybe you can relate to this, but for me growing up, I had such a hard time wanting to start new relationships, because I felt like the barrier to entry of understanding me was almost impossible. You know, you have these friends for years and years and years, and they just pick up on the small nuances and details of who you are as a person. And then you look back on that and go, whoa, how would I do that with a new person? You meet someone on the first day and you're talking about, you know, what you do for work and whatnot, but you know that the expanse of your mind and personality is nearly impossible to communicate in any short amount of time, and it's just this absolute deep dive. That's how I feel when it comes to this social media stuff, really. And I think, how can I approach a 30-second video that communicates that and the idea that I'm trying to share? And I've shared almost 2,000 pieces of content just on Instagram. Never mind TikTok. I think it's probably double that from years and years ago when I started on that platform. And I still feel like I haven't even scratched the surface. And it's such a hard thing, because I think other people fall in love with certain personalities online, and for nearly everybody, it only really scratches the surface. But I don't know how to communicate my version of that best, because, gosh, half the time I'm really sarcastic and I'm always making jokes. I'm always hearing sounds and then referencing those into this video that I saw or a song that I really like, and I'm just processing so much information from the world around me and kind of showing that in my personality. But I feel like it very rarely gets across accurately, and I think a lot of people are okay with that for themselves, because they recognize that one little part of their personality is what kind of pushes the needle or gets them popularity or connects with people. But I don't resonate with that at all, actually. I have an incredibly hard time resonating with that, because one of the lessons that I wish I could teach to everybody is that the single-minded approach to life that everyone is trying to prescribe you with is the mental jail. That is the very thing keeping most people trapped, because they think they're supposed to be a certain way, and that's the only way. And I couldn't be further from that. And recognizing the value in being far from that, it does create this conviction within me where I want to let people know that, hey, you can be incredibly serious about the work that you do and the impact that you're trying to have, and you can be absolutely hilarious, and you can be the life of the party if you want to, and you can treat yourself incredibly well and eat super healthy, and you can be incredibly well-read and informed, and you can be worldly. I mean, any part of your personality that feels genuine, that should be a part of the personality. And for me, I have so many of those. I want to say all the crazy shit and the jokes that most people would get mad at when I'm with my friends. And I want to hear a new song that for whatever reason I just love so much, and it's not even a serious kind of song, but there's just something about it, and it makes a freaking tear come to my eye because I love it so much. And I want to just rant about something that I'm pissed off about and just want to go off, and I want to argue with people, and I want to love everybody all at the same time. It's personalities are there's so much more to it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I know that there's so much more to myself than I can accurately communicate. And I want to believe that that's the same for everybody, and we've all been forced to kind of be boxed in. And I'm saying this right now, and I feel kind of this heavy weight. And at the same time, I want to just make fun of myself for saying it in that way and acting like I'm a Hallmark freaking card. It just so many different views and perspectives and things that I could say run through my mind constantly that if I was forced to be one way forever, I might as well just be no way at all and jump off a bridge or something, because I can't see that being a reasonable approach for me. And again, that's one of the bigger lessons that I want to put out there. It is that people can embrace that of themselves. So again, it comes back to how in the world do I communicate that? I don't mean in the cheesy ass way of, oh, I'm gonna drink and smoke and be a great athlete and think that that's a crazy uncommon contradiction. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't do that? Who doesn't smoke cigarettes and run a marathon at the same time? Freaking whatever, dude. That is the most overused shit ever. People thinking that that is something special. No, honesty is something special. Truly expressing the honest version of yourself and your personality, that is something special. And I don't see enough people doing that in the real way. People do it in the way that's going to get them attention. But I have such a hard time doing that. I really do. And again, it's just this short form content, just the quick instant gratification economy. And we're so used to it. It's almost utility level in our society now, but people do it constantly. They're just advertising the parts of themselves that are going to get views and get attention and kind of build this cheap following. And really the puzzle that I'm trying to put together is how can I build, I mean, a following is a terrible word. How can I build audience and community? How can I gain influence for the helpful things, the things that I believe are helpful that I want to share through the hardest route possible? I think that's what it is for me. I've been in the social media game for long enough to where I know that you can get followers. You can just get followers. I mean, if you're, I don't know, if you're a dude, just shout from the rooftops all the alpha grind set bullshit and rent a Lamborghini and pretend like you're hot shit and sell a course or something, and then you've got it. And, if you're a girl, just wear less clothes and you got it. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's the reality of it. That's how you gain a following. That's how you get the numbers to go up. That's how you get more money. Notice all of these things are stupid as hell. The followers, the numbers going up, the money. That is the stupid shit. But what if you got the followers, the money, the metrics through something that was incredibly meaningful to you, and you knew that it was the furthest route you could possibly take to getting that outcome, but that route held all of the meaning in the world for you? I think it would be different. Because again, you can take these shortcuts to outcomes, and you got it. You got what everybody thinks is successful. But I have experienced enough, I've talked with enough successful people that have made it to the epitome, the tip of the spear of what people think is success. And they'll tell you what real success is. They'll tell you what real fulfillment is. And it's found in all of the stuff that's free. Loving yourself, respecting yourself, showing up for yourself, keeping promises. And, I'm kind of off on a tangent here. This was supposed to be me complaining about short form content, but it still kind of is. So I want to get there. I'm not even trying to devalue what it is to have an audience and have videos perform well on social media. I'm trying to do all the same stuff. And I'm comparing myself to people that have maybe 5% of the intention through the actual the goal and the metrics. Because again, I can look at somebody with a similar following and say, how do they get 1 million views with every single video they post? Do they care? Or are they just fishing for engagement? Meanwhile, I'm trying to take the largest workaround possible, which is I only want to build an incredible following based on people that can truly understand, maybe not the entirety of my personality, but a large majority of the personality, digest the multifaceted nature of it, which I'm not using multifaceted to hype myself up. I'm just saying there are literally a lot of parts to that. And I feel like when you build understanding through things that are harder to understand, it's more valuable. So knowing 2 + 2 = 4, it's a little bit valuable. But having a full understanding of quantum mechanics or something crazy, that would probably be a little bit more valuable than knowing 2 + 2, because that is way harder to understand. So the difficulty of understanding, there is value in that. And I think if I was able to build influence and an audience based on my own experiences and personality that is much harder to digest simply, then I think something more is going to come from that. So I battle, do I just stay in one lane and get more of an audience and cast a wide net? Or do I do the real work? Do I face the reality of what it is to try and communicate a whole person? And that's such a hard thing to do. But again, it all comes back to this big picture for me. And just the things that I absolutely care about most, because I just look back to day one when I started posting on social media going, I just want to share my ideas until the cows come home. I don't know what's going to come of it. I don't know how people are going to receive it, but I just feel like the world would be a little bit different if my thoughts were out there, and the only way they're going to be out there is if I put them out there. And I feel strongly about this. I've learned so much. I don't see a lot of people living the same way and thinking the same way and taking certain parts of life so seriously, but still retaining all the fun parts of life and talking shit and making fun of people and just having a real personality that the people who don't live this way would still connect with. And it's all true and it's all genuine. I want to get back to that. And I've never lost that signal internally. When I wake up in the morning and I'm just talking to me, I've never lost that. It's who I am as a person. The signal between my 5-year-old self and my current self could not be stronger. My signal between my 18-year-old self and my current self could not be stronger. Signal between yesterday's self and today's self could not be stronger. But then it comes to social media. Then it comes to communicating these things. Then it comes to dealing with the frustration of trying to speak to what it is that is so nuanced and detailed and complex in a 30-second stupid ass Instagram video. It just isn't possible. I'm frustrated because I don't love the process of picking up my phone and trying to condense the ideas down. I don't do that with people. I express who I am. I will speak on things at length. As you can see, I've kind of jumped all over the place. And I don't know if I really want to change that. Again, do I become skilled at this game? Do I become an absolute scientist and analyst of the short form content game for the sake of creating a larger top of funnel, casting a wider net so that more people that are going to understand it in the first place can view the conversations like this or can see the YouTube videos? Or do I stop tiring out my freaking soul in the process and just do what I want to do the whole time? And to be honest with you, I'm not even perfectly leaning a certain way because both of those are kind of appealing. I like to be good at stuff. I'm a competitive person. I think if anybody can do it, I can do it. And at the same time, I'm almost too grounded in my values and morals to where sometimes I have a hard time detaching that from anything that I do. If somebody asks me, hey, what shoes should I wear to run? Do you really think I name a pair of shoes? I say, you know what? The shoe doesn't freaking matter. Because were our bodies meant to have some squishy, dumbass trampoline under us while we're running all these miles? No, we were probably meant to just use the feet that we have and progress over years and years and years of being barefoot since we were born and adapting to the environment that we're created in. And there's humanity to this. And then I think back and I go, oh, they were just asking me what kind of shoes they should get for their run. Because they just want to do a 5K. And I have the hardest time in the world prying my mind away from where my mind actually goes and what I actually think. And I know that there are so many people out there that would appreciate those things, but how the hell do those people hear what I'm talking about? And it's creating another podcast. It's creating the next YouTube video. It's continuing to post and do the things and just watch it happen. There's no solution to what I'm talking about, and I know that because I've worked really hard to separate my mind from the solution mindset. It's not there. The real problems, the real obstacles, they don't have straight up solutions. So I'm not going there, but this is how my mind thinks. And I can't escape that because I care so freaking much. I think it was a trend for a long time to just not care about anything because that's cool and you got some freaking aura and you just got the steez. It's whatever. And I've always seen that as out of style. Not giving a shit is the lamest thing ever. It's sad that that's seen as cool, the nonchalant. Because I see somebody that cares about anything, and I just get stoked. I'm so excited when somebody is excited. What did I hear one time? An enthusiast. It's just so exciting to see people passionate about things. You have a conversation with somebody and you go, hey, what's up? How's it going? And they'll tell you that things are actually up, things are going. And people that just have their whole life story kind of always right here. They're living that out. They're focusing on the practical things they want to get better at, and it's all through the lens of, damn, I care so freaking much. I just want to make it. I want to do it. I want to do great things. That's such an exciting amplitude of life. And I take that very seriously. It's always been hard to communicate how much I care. And that sounds kind of cheeseball. But I just have this appreciation for being here in the first place. I have an appreciation for seeing the world and other people's downfalls and mistakes and history as the perfect opportunity to learn. It's just this library of information that so many people are not taking advantage of. I'm appreciative of that, and it's crazy. I'm 25, so I can't even say I've been the old person in the room nearly ever. I mean, unless I was babysitting a child or something, but that's I'm still the young guy. I can't even believe that I've lived up to this point and I'm still the young guy, and I see my peers that I grew up with, going to school and whatnot, just people in kind of the same age bracket, and they've already lost hope, and I'm thinking, what the hell is wrong? Already? Yeah, I thought that when people got to maybe 50 or something and they were down on their luck, that they would lose hope, and they just see that the path they're on, it's just carved, and that's where they are. But 25, I can't believe I still have the luxury of looking to those that have lived so much longer than me and saying, dude, you're just blessing me constantly with more information, more to learn from. If you listen intently enough, you can have conversations with anybody, and everybody wants to share the mistakes that they made and how you could learn from them. The thing is, just most people don't freaking listen to it, and I go, how? I mean, I at 25, I'm just starting out. This is the ground zero. This is below ground zero. You know what I mean? I've only been out of school for, 7 years? Well, that's a little bit crazy. That's actually quite some time. But, I mean, I'm not even Unk status yet. You know what I mean? I feel like that's maybe when you're 27, people can call you Unk. But what a blessing to have this kind of opportunity, and to know what's in front of me, to be able to learn and pick up on all the information that just surrounds my life. I don't even know where I'm going with that, but this is what my mind sounds like a little bit. It's an angst and an appreciation all at the same time. It's overwhelming. A lot of people want to avoid responsibility, and I think that responsibility is the best thing that you could possibly take on, if it aligns with what you're trying to accomplish, of course. But yeah, people will take a job that doesn't fulfill them for a lifetime, and they accept it because they don't have to take that full responsibility. They don't have to create that autonomy, and I get it because it's scary. Every move I make, everything I do, everything I say, it's okay, here I am. I said that thing. I did that thing. I built this thing. My ability to support myself, it's on me. My ability to do even better next month, it's on me. My ability to maintain my health and wellness and all this stuff, it's on me. I take that responsibility, but I think it leads to the most fulfillment possible. Everyone in this world looks up to the people that can run the fastest or lift the most weights. Think of the responsibility in that. To be the fastest runner ever, you have to run faster than every other person. That's crazy. That is a huge responsibility. To be the strongest person ever, You have to lift the heaviest weights. Out of anybody in the entire world, you have to lift the heaviest weights if you're going to be the strongest person in the world. That is a wild amount of responsibility, yet that's what everybody looks to as heroic. The hero archetype is the archetype of the heaviest responsibility, and there's a reason we look up to that. So I am fully embracing the responsibility that I hold and, of course, have created. I mean, it's my fault, so I'm not complaining about it by any means. I am fully embracing that because I think it is so meaningful. And again, just to reiterate kind of the comedy in the fact of my desire to just get better at communicating what I think in short form. Freaking impossible. But conversationally, or I guess in context of this monologue here, look where it's taken me. It's taken me to the absolute big picture. The principles I live my life by. And that's because every little thing I do is all connected to the same big mission, the same big thing. That message that I want everyone to hear, the example that I want to be for anybody that witnesses who I am and how I am. I want to be the positive influence. I want to have the impact. I want people to realize that they have ownership of their life. You have ownership over your life. You have control. Don't look at a rich person and think that they've got it figured out. That's bullshit. Look at the rich person and say, man, what decisions did they make? I bet I could make similar ones. You know, see the Lamborghini driving by and don't go, oh my God, I blah, blah, blah. No. Don't idolize anybody. Because you idolize and then you're immediately detaching who you are from the possibility of you having the same outcomes as that person. And that's crazy because it's not honest. And most people with a big following and the people on the red carpet and all that shit, they're trying to make you think that they are different from you. They're trying to make you think that because if everyone's the same, then who gets to profit off of manipulating people? If everyone's the same, how are people going to pretend like they have the secret sauce to success? And it's just so funny because though I've expressed a lot of frustration for social media and what it has to offer, I think it's incredible that people who are full of shit are getting exposed as being people that are full of shit. Because we got some pretty damn good internet investigators out here, and I just think that the truth and the honesty and all of these things are going to become mainstream one day. And me just speaking my thoughts and holding this microphone and going all over the place and just trying to explain my mind down the barrel of a camera, that's me trying to play my part in that. So I will relieve you of more ideas, more information overload, and say that this is the end of the pod. Again, not my typical style. I had a couple notes written down on my computer, but I didn't really refer to any of them. I just wanted to talk in free flow, and it's never perfect. I'm sure if I were to listen back to the last, how long is this? Oh my God. The last 44 minutes of me just rambling on, I'll pick out things. Oh, why did I say that? Or, oh, why didn't I say this thing? And, get all frustrated about it. Good news is I'm not going to listen to it. I'm just going to put it out there. But I'll relieve you of the information overwhelm. That's the end of the podcast. If you enjoyed the rant, if you enjoyed my attempt at wringing the ideas out of my mind and turning them into communication, let me know. If you're watching on YouTube, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Always makes my day. I'm not the best at getting back in a timely manner, but I am the best at getting back nonetheless after a week or two to those comments. So would really appreciate it. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a love if you loved it. All those great things are very appreciated. And subscribe so you don't miss next week's rant, which might be a little bit more on a certain topic, but nevertheless, click subscribe if you'd like. Spotify, if you're listening or watching on Spotify, leave 5 stars. That would be incredible. You can comment on Spotify as well, so I want to hear from you. And what else do I got? There's a few things I always say. Ooh, yes, my newsletter. I love my newsletter. I write 2 newsletters a week, and I think one of the reasons that I recorded what I recorded just now is because I wrote a newsletter about the conviction versus obligation, and I really thought it was good. It got me thinking a little bit too much to just jot down some notes. So I said, let me just riff to the camera for a while. So I'm deep diving on those as well. It's same train of thinking in text form, and me just writing out my thoughts makes it a little bit more organized than the spontaneous just going crazy, talking my mind away. But the newsletter is great, totally free. Again, I send 2 a week. Great way to save some of the things that I talk about instead of scrolling through trying to find the right video or the timestamp in the podcast. Always trying to, again, organize my thoughts in a really good way, sending those out in the newsletter for people to have something nice and tangible to grab onto. You can send it to people. You can make it your screensaver. You can copy over some quotes, put it in your notes, write it down in your journal, whatever you like to do. Free resource. Just trying to make the world a little bit better through it. So you can subscribe to that. Link to subscribe will be in the description or show notes of the episode, so you can go ahead and click that. And 3 words that are super important, or 4, depending on the occasion. No phone dinner. When you eat dinner tonight, you can't use your phone. I'm holding you to it. Don't try to get out of it. No phone dinner, because there is something to appreciate, and it's called the present moment. So you could be with your friends, your family, or all by yourself. All of those are great options. Put the phone away. Just eat your food. Appreciate the meal. If you're fasting, pretend like you're eating food. And just look around. Take in the information that's found in the details of where you are. Look out the window. Look at the ceiling. Look at the texture of the floor. Whatever it might be, there's a lot of value in being undistracted and in the present moment. And with that said, that's all I got. I'm going to go do my laundry, which I'm not excited about. Way less fun than ranting to the camera. I promise you that. But I do really hope you have an incredible day. I hope you consider some of the things that I threw at you and can walk away with some value after 46 minutes of me ranting. So have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one. See you guys.